I'm going to try to think of a way to frame this question such that it's representative of what I'm trying to obtain through my query. And I mean no disrespect to this gathering. I've gained a lot of insights from listening to the teachings from Abraham and other teachings, and I'm very appreciative for this flow that's present in this room. And I hear what you're saying, and I'm appreciating it, but some level of me thinks that there's a deeper level to this conversation about existence, about life, about what happens after we transition, about the energy that typically takes place during these conversations, which I have heard either through audios or videos. This is my first time being physically present during one of these gatherings, and I don't know if that's a confusion on my part or if there's something which I'm not seeing in these messages, but something tells me that there's a deeper place than we get at during some of the conversations that you've been having, and I was just wondering if there would be some way that you could speak to that.
Well, there is a deeper place, but it's a vibrational, sort of unspeakable place. Sort of like the feeling of love is really deeper, and by your perspective in this conversation, more meaningful than words of love, which fall short of the vibration. So one of the things that happens as we begin to interface with all of you, initially, what most of you want to talk about is, how can I get my life going better? How can I accomplish more of this and more of this and more of this? So then we go to those deeper levels by explaining to you that you're more than you see, and that there is another part of you who is aware and interested, who exists in non-physical and who is ongoing even while you're here in this physical body. And then through a series of conversations and books and over a period of time, we help you to understand that the relationship between these two perspectives is really important to your being deliberate in what you're going about here. So we have some deep conversations as we attempt to bring you into an awareness of the vibrational nature of your being. We talk about meditation because we want you to quiet your mind, because we want you to stop this chatter so that your vibration will raise. Because until your vibration raises, you can't really feel that love and clarity and certainty and knowing that is there for you. You are a continuation of that. And so we like all of those conversations, and we like many of you rising to that. And we notice that sometimes you get there, but you don't often stay. And so we teach you some of the things that you might do to stay there more often, because you're right. That's who you are. That's what you meant to be. But then the fuller picture that we really want you to understand, and it's the one that almost everybody misses in some way. And it's really the conversation about spiritual versus material. It's the conversation about source versus the humanness. Because it's the wholeness that really, the deepness that you're reaching for is all about. There's a really big reason that you all have come into these physical bodies. And it's not to prove worthiness. It's not to fix a broken world. It's for the joy of being focused, and for the thrill of seeing what comes from focused experience. It's that ongoing becoming. And so the thing that a lot of people misunderstand is that this leading edge, this time-space reality, this physicality that is you, it is the leading edge, and it is where all of this meaningful stuff that you're reaching for is focused. So we don't have to go back into the meaning, we come forward into the meaning. You see, that which man wants to call God, or what we're calling source, what we're calling this collective consciousness, this infinite intelligence, this lover of life, is forward with all of you. And so there really is nothing deeper or more meaningful than life showing you that you want something, you mastering alignment with who you are, and then bringing the whole of you forward to experience this leading edge experience, you see. There is nothing that thrills us more than to have a leading edge conversation, not bringing you along to something that you don't know, but all of us going to a place we've never been before. And we can't go to these new, deep, important, meaningful places without being on the leading edge where all the juice is, you see. It's not back there where source is. Source is there and stable and flowing forward with you. And so that's why you keep coming forward. There is this triad of intentions of freedom and growth and joy, and they are equal in their importance and in their value. And so we say, triad of intentions, freedom and growth and joy. You're so free you can choose bondage, and the expansion is inevitable. But if you will let what you're reaching for be the joy of the balance of all of that. So we say freedom and growth and joy, and you say, we hear you, Abraham, growth, 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 meaning, 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 something important. And we say, it's the joy that you are reaching for. The deepest that you can be, the deepest part of our message or of anything that is when you can stand in practiced absence of resistance, where your cork is floating and you are in vibrational sync with who you really are. And then you are proceeding on your day-to-day experience, riding that stream of clarity and good timing and connection, being the answer to the question that someone is asking and being the question to the answer that someone is ready to give. This deliberate, delicious, never-ending unfolding of eternal life that we are all about, you see.
So this then speaks to the true union that one would have with each other and with our source energy and our vibration when one really gets into that space. I mean, I know we have to come to it through our trials and our wantings and our rockets and what have you, but at some point we come to that true state of deep bliss and union.
That's that mastery that we're wanting to talk with you about. And you see, everyone finds it. Step one causes you to create it, but most don't line up with it until they have their death experience. There is no death, but their transition experience. But you don't have to wait till then. You can master alignment. You can find more often love than hate. You can find clarity more than confusion. You can practice the vibrations until you've got that momentum going. And you can be in this physical body. It's what you intended to do, with that source flowing through you, with all of us reveling in the expansion that we are all about. That is the true meaning of life. You said, I'll go and I'll figure stuff out that I desire from my personal perspective. And I know that my broader perspective will find that first. And then I will line up with that by releasing resistance, and the whole of me will move forward in this expansive experience. Because you are source energy wanting to live it here. That's the deepest, most meaningful statement that we can make to you. You're not here practicing so that you can croak and then live it. That's all coming forward with you. You're practicing it so that you can live it now. You're not waiting for alignment once you die. You're not waiting for your blessings once you die. You're living them now through the power of your alignment with what you know to be good, you see.
Yes.
Helpful?
Very much. Thank you very much.
Really good.
Thank you. Finally here. Magic carpet.
It flies.
So glad he was just here.
Yeah. Funny how that works out.
I want to continue to go deep. So I completely get that the leading edge is where it's at.
And when you're in tune, it feels so good. And when you're not, it feels so bad.
It does.
I'll get right to the leading edge after my nap.
So leading edge implies one
Eternalness.
edge. One edge.
Say again?
One edge.
Oh, well, then we mean leading edginess.
So, is Earth, is this the only leading edge?
As far as you're concerned, it is.
Okay. That is a big answer to a question I've had for a long time.
This is where your momentum is, and this is your leading edge.
So from our collective perspective, we're leading edge.
Yes, but those of us who have joined you are not earthbound.
Thank goodness. But glad they're here too.
Yeah.
Because at the same time, they're here too.
Yeah, there is all the expansion that anyone would ever want right here on planet Earth. It's not limited in any way, other than the limitation that is assigned by an individual. And then.
So is it a true statement that there would be similar Earths?
Yes. Infinite.
Other leading edges?
Yes.
Other teachers?
Certainly.
Schools of teachers?
Certainly.
In those places fulfilling those?
Infinite intelligence.
Questions.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that's logical to me.
It's logical and it's accurate and it's real. It's true.
And then I would like to thank you for also a logic. I'm a student of logic and law for many years. So coming upon your materials was more like music. It was so, I began to test, put this to the test. What is this? Use your logic. And it's flawless and it's so beautiful to put it to the test. Then eventually I just quit putting it to the test because it's infallible in its method. So I really, really appreciate that. And I wanted to know, pardon?
When you find the resonance with what you know to be, then you find the stability that you can then move forward into the new with the same balance.
Same balance. And
in other words, there's not a shred of evidence to the contrary of any of this anywhere.
I tried it in the beginning as a skeptic because I was trained to be a skeptic through logic. What emerged pretty quickly is that applying the same rules that I was taught, it just came out, perfect every time, but it was a whole new appreciation of the way Abraham applies it, using many forms of logic and many types of teaching methods. It's the perfect mix of any teachers I've ever had.
And so can you feel how, in your skepticism, which is a very good thing, it's contrast that moves things forward, can you feel that your approach to it, your unique and important approach to it, has taken even what we've been teaching and even what you've been learning from us to a place that it could not have been without your involvement in it?
Yes, otherwise, frankly, I don't know why I'm here, so I'm glad that's true.
Because
I know the joy, but there's that, and
because at the core of you, expansion is something that will eternally call you, you see.
The expansion as a reason is so delicious.
Yes.
So I hope everybody gets that. I hope everybody that really gets as much as I do about the sort of orchestra that's going on of expansion and how delicious that can be. And I hate to use the word fragmented, but the more it becomes fragmented, but it's really just expansion, the more delicious it can be in those smaller bits and this is how I see it. Tell me if I'm wrong. So it's expanding, it's in smaller and smaller bits, and it's sort of anchoring as it grows. It's anchoring more of that source truth, that deep that you were speaking of, that deeper meaning that's ineffable. It's anchoring that more and more and more and more and more through its fragmentation.
And add to that the concept of momentum, and then you really understand. In other words, alignment and momentum brings something that is so delicious. Misalignment and momentum brings something not so delicious. In misalignment, there is contrast. In contrast, there is more asking. And so that's why it always works for the good. That's why things are always getting better.
Thank God.